Welcome to Get on the Ark. I'm Darren Brett Conrad, your host. And for those of you who don't know what Get on the Ark is, it's actually God woke me up from a dream. He audibly told me to get on the ark. And I was like, Lord, what do you mean? And he wanted me to share testimonies and stories about how he's healing and miracles and the things that he's doing across the globe. And just like he told Noah to build an ark to save from the darkness coming, in the world today, God is calling people out of complacency and bringing them closer and starting a relationship with Jesus to save them from the coming storm in this generation. So, but I'm honored today to have Emma Victoria Johnson on our show. Emma is an Australian entrepreneur, cancer survivor. She's a patient ambassador for Oasis of Hope Cancer Center. You're a speaker, you're writing your first book, and you're a content creator, and I'm excited to have you here. Welcome, Emma.
Thank you for having me, Darren, and good morning, America.
Yes. Yeah, so walk us through a little bit about your journey.
Well, it's funny, when you just said about you had a dream, again, I think this path that I've been given has been given to me by God to walk this path and give hope to others. I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer March 2025 last year with basically a death sentence. And I refused to believe that was going to happen. And I believe God only puts things in our pathways that we can conquer. And I also believe that he removes things out of our lives that should no longer be in them. So I've too had a little bit, I really do resonate with what you just said, how you came up to do your show, because I too feel like I've been given this role to help others and to give hope that there is another way out there to help people and heal the body in a different way.
Yeah. So before you were diagnosed, walk us through a little bit about your journey before, because you're healthy, athletic, and
so I had a business of 9 years. It was really busy. I probably worked 12 hours a day. I was at the gym every day. Had a successful career, probably worked too much, probably lived too much, bit of a girl around town, had lots of friends, probably didn't have much sleep, as we do in those years. And I was fit and healthy and I've never, ever been ill in my entire life. I never been sick. And then the next minute I found a lump and it was cancer. Obviously I didn't believe that at the time because, I always thought people that got cancer would feel sick or they'd have side effects, or that I always think you look sick if you've got cancer. Well, that isn't the case. And I do think nowadays cancer has become a lot bigger than it used to be. I feel like we've got this new super cancer that's coming in all shapes and forms and all ages. And I don't know whether that's down to our lifestyles, whether it's down to, what we're getting pushed through the government to eat and drink. And I just think, it is getting more popular in younger people, which this is why I want to sort of share my journey and help others, that there is another way to get your body healthy without having to do chemo or radiation or surgery. And I'll just correct this because I actually wasn't offered any chemo, any radiation or surgery. And when I got diagnosed, because it was too far gone. So they basically gave me 3 months to live without any medication, or I'd live for 18 months with the 2 chemo tablets that they offered, but I didn't qualify for surgery or radiation. So this is how I went searching for, another alternative way to heal the body. It was a gamble at the time, but I'm so glad that I found it. And again, I feel God showed me the way to Oasis. And I believe that's why I'm here today, is now to share it with other people, so they too can know about another way to cure the body.
Yeah. So tell us about Oasis and how you found it, and where along this journey. I mean, I would assume that you were, going through a lot of emotions and maybe, some fear, and take us through that path. And then when you found Oasis, and then what happened?
Well, I think at first, when I got diagnosed, I actually didn't believe it. I was in denial for quite a bit. I told my older sister that I was looking at alternative treatment. I actually thought I'd find some super clinic. I was looking, Sweden, Iceland, Russia. I didn't even think Mexico or Tijuana. I was just thinking of like, the movies where they all get these miracle cures and stuff. So my head was gone into this other world. And I actually did start at a different clinic to start with in Cancun. And that clinic, my results actually got worse. And I actually, a friend of mine told me about Oasis. And the next minute I was on the phone and I just feel like it fell into my lap, like it was given to me. So I think an angel came down, Oasis came in front of me. I was like, I've got nothing else to lose. My sister was like, this is in Tijuana. Like, what are you doing? I was like, I just knew it was the right thing. And as soon as I walked through those gates, I just knew. Weirdly, I just thought, this is it. This is where I'm meant to be. And the first time that I met Dr. Contreras, I knew he was going to cure me. And I know that sounds crazy. And I even said it to my sister, and she was like, she was worried at first. I think she thought I was crazy, And a few weeks later, she was like, I'm so glad you followed the journey and did what you did. Because now I'm like literally almost cancer free. So I've gone from stage 4. I had it in my breast. I had it in my lymph nodes. I had 5 spots in my liver. I've got 1 spot to go and I'll be cancer free. And that to me is a testimony for people to understand that there is another way out there to help people that have got cancer. And I believe that I was shown by God, this was the way that I was meant to go.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
in Australia and Mexico aren't next to each other.
It's about
it's not like a drive down the street, right?
No, I couldn't have chosen anywhere further away, honestly. Look, at the time, I don't think I was really thinking, in the right frame of mind. I just knew. I was like, that is where I'm going. That is it. I just knew. I don't know what it was. It sounds crazy, but I just knew. Did I have fear? Of course I did. Did I believe it was going to work? I'm not sure, but I didn't have anything else to lose. And as soon as I got there and as soon as I started treatment, I just knew it was going to work. And that was enough for me. And I also think if we have hope and we believe, I also think that is a really powerful tool for people. Negativity doesn't work. You have to believe in what you're doing for things to work. They always say manifestation as well. I believe a lot of prayers have got me here. I lost my parents when I was quite young. And I believe that my mum's been showing me the way to this as well. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe that I've had all this help because this hasn't just been my own strength on my own. It's been something else has been guiding me along this journey. And, I sit in front of you today. I should have died a year ago. And I'm here in front of you healthier and fitter than I ever was before, even though I was quite healthy before. But now I'm even healthier.
Wow. Well, so how long is the journey from Sydney? You live in Sydney, correct?
Yes. So it's about a 2-day travel. So it's about a 15.5-hour flight. And then I either get off at LA or I could do San Francisco, and then it's about an hour into San Diego. So it is roughly between, waiting for planes and airports. It's about 2 days of traveling.
Wow. So your first, you went to Cancun first, but then you went to Tijuana to Oasis.
Yes.
To meet Dr. Contreras.
Dr. Contreras.
Contreras.
Yes. When I did start at another clinic in the March, and that was just by marketing. It was in Cancun. It looked shiny and bright. It was really popular, and that to me, that was the place to go. After getting some not so good results, I got recommended by a friend, and I was like, Tijuana, Cancun sounds so much better. But honestly, as soon as I got there, I felt safe. It's not what people make it out to be. The thing that I love about Oasis is they don't just take anybody in. They only take you on if they can help you. And I feel like a lot of clinics out there will try and take advantage of people that are sick. They'll try and take people's money. I went to Oasis, and they're angels. They're angels in disguise. I honestly felt like I'd entered my safe haven. And I've said that from the start on my Instagram. This place is my safe haven.
Wow. So how long was your treatment and kind of walk us through kind of the journey of being healed?
So I started with a 16-day protocol at Oasis, which basically, they teach you how to, the food that you can and can't eat. There's cooking classes. There's prayer every day, which I actually did lose my religion when I lost my parents. And when I got diagnosed with cancer, I hadn't really found it at the beginning, even though the signs were there. And when I got to Oasis, it was day 7 and a song came on, I Surrender. And all of a sudden I just started crying. I was like, oh my word, I actually surrender. And that was the point when I started to believe again in fully faith, God. And that's when I fully got back into my religion. Now I go to church every Sunday. But before that, I actually had drifted a little bit. So I think the first thing with Oasis, they gave me that hope back and they brought me back to faith. And I do believe that is a real big part of healing. The hope that they gave me and believing that they could cure me or help me. Then they taught me how to treat my body. Then you do treatment. So there's all different kinds of IVs. Everybody's cancer is different. So everybody's treatment plan is different. So, everyone's different. Someone could have a different cancer to me, would be different treatments. But, cancer hates oxygen. So we do EBU, which oxygenates your blood. And we do hypothermia, which is a heat pod. So cancer hates heat. We learn that cancer loves sugar and protein and fatty food. So we learn how to become halfly vegan and very minimal protein. So you get a full diet plan from Oasis. And we do all the IVs that they recommend. And basically they put your body into a fighting machine against cancer. The best part of it is they have 5 different vaccines. And again, everyone has different vaccines depending on what type of cancer they have. So each patient will have a consultation with the vaccines that I've had. Basically, it's a vaccine that helps your immune system to fight cancer, and it builds your immune system up. So it basically turns your body into a machine that fights against the cancer cells. So there's 5 different types of vaccines that they do offer patients, again, just depending on what the cancer is. But I went in there and here I am almost cancer-free.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the changes in your life after having cancer, then beating cancer. It's almost already gone. What's changed in your life as a result of going through all that? You mentioned bringing God back in your life, but also your nutrition and what you eat. So share a little bit about.
I think at first I had to go down a really dark, slippery slope. So I had to close my business. I did have a partner at the time, and we were together for 7 years, and he left me. So I did lose quite a lot of everything. Some friends walked away. I think God removed the people out of my life that no longer should be in it. And now I look back at that and I see that he was making way for a path that they weren't meant to be in. And, if you'd have said that to me a year ago, I was heartbroken and couldn't believe, why is this happening? Why are these people not standing by me? Now I sit here and I'm like, wow, he got rid of the people. So that was my first lesson. I had to go down a really dark path to come back up. My business of 9 years was a really hard decision to close. Now I look back and it was the best thing I ever did. I've learned how to treat my body correctly. I've learned how to not be so stressed and so, work so hard, and that life is worth living. And, it's not about the materialistic things anymore. You can't buy health. So I guess I've been more grounded. I'm more grateful for life. I feel like I've become a better person. I think it sounds crazy, but I think cancer's completely changed me. And I do feel like I live a better lifestyle now than I did before, which if you'd have handed this to me a year ago, I'd have been like, whoa, no thanks. And now I'm just, every day I wake up and it's a blessing to be alive.
Awesome. That's amazing. So what is your message or your word that you would like to share with somebody? Give them some hope if someone's battling cancer or battling anything.
I think my journey started because I just wanted people to know that cancer is not a death sentence. And I learned that very quickly when I decided that I'm not going to die from cancer. I believe that doctors scare us into thinking that it is a one-way street and there's only one way of ending and cancer wins. And I generally don't think that is the truth. I wanted people to know that, if you believe in yourself and you have hope and you can turn your life around and get rid of everything that doesn't serve you and anything that makes your life hard or difficult or sad or depressed, God removes those things for a reason. And I believe that if you believe in yourself and you have the right support people behind you, we can do anything in this life. I guess for me, I just wanted people to know that there is another way out there, to save people's lives other than chemo and radiation. And, Western medicine isn't always the answer. And if you've been given no hope by a doctor by saying, you cannot win and you are uncurable, then I'm here to say that you are curable. If you're willing to make the changes and if you're willing to surrender yourself and you're willing to rebuild yourself into what you need to beat cancer, you will win. You can do this. So this is why I started my page, for people to know that, we can do this a different way.
So what was your business that you were originally in that you got rid of?
So I had a hair salon in Newcastle in Australia, and it was busy. It was pumping. It was actually a blow bar. So ladies came in to get their hair blow dried. We did makeup. It was very busy all the time, pumping, 12-hour days, on your feet all day, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved the business. I loved working in it. I loved being with the clients. I felt I had a purpose in life. And then obviously I got diagnosed, and you can't run a business, look after staff and look after clients and cure cancer. So it took me a couple of months to learn that. And when I did close the doors, it was the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, but it was the right decision. And at the time I didn't see that. At the time I was like, if I don't close the business and look after me, I'm going to die. So I chose life. But I remember thinking, who am I now? What am I going to do in my life? I feel like I've got no purpose. I've done this for 9 years, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah. Well, there's our plan and there's God's plan, and his is so much greater than ours.
Well, it was God's plan. It just happened. And I believe, again, everything on this journey has happened for a reason. And a wise woman once said to me, in life, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything at all. It will just come to you, or it will happen. And I believe all my journey, that's happened. Like, I've thought it and then it's happened. It's like I haven't really planned it. It's just slid into place and happened.
Yes. So do you have a prayer or a scripture or something that you've learned that you kind of have a go-to now that you use as your life verse?
Honestly, I talk to God as like I'm having a conversation.
Yes.
And it can be, one day it can be randomly anything. Another day it can be sad. Another day it can be blissful and happy. Another day I can be cursing something like, I can't believe this happened today. I literally have a conversation.
That's fantastic.
And I feel like that is my prayer. And I do sometimes speak to my mom as well, which is quite weird.
So going through all this, you started to learn how to have a relationship with God and have.
I have, yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And and I never used to bless food, which, being at Oasis, I've learned. I've been around people in the clinic and I've watched them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start doing that. So it's kind of just been like learning from other people as well, and being comfortable with doing. How I think it is what you feel inside. There's no random prayer that I read from a book. I literally just sit there and I'll have a conversation with him.
Oh, that's great. What are, if there's some closing thoughts or a closing message that you want to share?
That God is with everybody, and you should have self-belief and hope. And if anybody's out there struggling, because I know life is hard, please don't give up on yourself, and just always keep hope inside and know that God is with you.
Amen.
And if anyone has any cancer journeys, then here I am to speak to people if they need help.
And people can follow you or reach out to you on your social media, which is on Instagram, it's Emma_Victoria J.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
My
great.
whole journey's on there.
And your book will be published. How soon?
Hopefully by the end of this year.
Okay, that's exciting. And it's going to be
Yes.
the title of the book is going to be called
Fighting for Survival.
Fighting for Survival. Awesome. Well, Emma, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story. Thank you for getting on the ark. Thank you for watching Get on the Ark. And there's a couple things you can do. You can like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And if this testimony touched your heart, there's a couple ways you can get involved. First, share the message with someone you know, and share Emma's IG account, and share this video, and let God will do the work. So, whether it's for someone at work, or, where you live, or where you play, God's everywhere. So share this message and let him, reach out to someone. Another thing is, if you have a story you'd like to share, please reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the show. So again, thank you for getting on the ark, Emma. Thank you for watching Get on the Ark. And until next time.
Thank you for having me, Darren. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Emma.